a center for abolition and reform, 1800s. The 19th century marked a transformative era in Boston's history, as the city emerged as a vibrant hub for social reform and progressive movements that helped shape the moral and political landscape of the United States. Boston's unique blend of intellectual energy, religious conviction, and moral courage made it a powerhouse for abolitionism, education reform, women's rights, and immigrant advocacy. This period cemented Boston's reputation not only as a center of economic and industrial growth, but also as a moral compass for a nation grappling with profound questions about freedom, equality, and justice. Boston and the abolitionist movement, a fight against slavery during the 1800s. Boston became synonymous with abolitionism, the movement to end slavery in the United States. The city attracted some of the most passionate and influential abolitionists, who dedicated their lives to the cause. Key figures and leaders. Boston was home to iconic abolitionists such as William Lloyd Garrison, Frederick Douglass, and Wendell Phillips. Garrison, the fiery editor of the Liberator newspaper, began publishing in Boston in 1831. His uncompromising stance against slavery and his call for immediate emancipation energized abolitionist circles not only in Boston but across the nation. Frederick Douglass, an escaped slave and powerful orator, frequently spoke at Boston's abolitionist gatherings, sharing his first-hand accounts of slavery's brutal realities. Douglass's eloquence and moral authority helped galvanize support in Boston and beyond. Wendell Phillips, often called the abolitionist aristocrat, was another key Boston figure. A wealthy lawyer and speaker, Phillips dedicated himself to fighting slavery and advocating for equal rights with unmatched fervor. Boston as a safe haven. Boston also served as a critical stop on the Underground Railroad, the secret network that helped enslaved African Americans escape to freedom in the North and Canada. Many Bostonians opened their homes and churches as safe houses, providing shelter and support to freedom seekers. A city divided. Despite Boston's strong abolitionist presence, the city was not without its complexities. There were tensions between radicals like Garrison and more moderate voices, who advocated gradual emancipation or colonization, the idea of resettling freed slaves outside the U.S. Nevertheless, Boston's abolitionists persisted in pushing the nation toward the abolition of slavery, contributing significantly to the mounting tensions that eventually led to the Civil War. Progressive movements in education. Boston's commitment to education reform during the 19th century was equally significant. The city became a model for public schooling and higher education, championing access and quality at a time when many Americans were still denied formal education. Horace Mann and the Common School movement. Although Horace Mann was from Massachusetts broadly, his influence on Boston's educational landscape was profound. Mann, known as the father of the Common School movement, advocated for publicly funded non-sectarian schools that would educate all children regardless of background. His efforts laid the groundwork for Boston's public school system, which became one of the most advanced in the country. Boston's public schools emphasized not just literacy but also moral education, civic responsibility, and critical thinking. The city's dedication to education helped prepare generations for active participation in democracy and the industrial economy. Higher education expansion. Boston's educational institutions also expanded during the 1800s. Harvard continued to grow in prestige, and new colleges such as Boston University, founded 1839, were established, broadening opportunities for higher learning, including for women and African Americans. Women's rights and early feminism. Boston was at the forefront of the burgeoning women's rights movement during the 19th century. The city's reformers challenged the traditional roles of women in society and fought for suffrage, education, and legal equality. Pioneering advocates. Prominent figures like Lucy Stone, one of the first women in Massachusetts to earn a college degree, and Abigail Adams, who famously reminded her husband John Adams to remember the ladies, were influential voices advocating for women's rights. The Boston Female Anti-Slavery Society was one of the earliest organizations to link the abolitionist and women's rights causes, highlighting the intersection of racial and gender equality. The city also hosted early women's rights conventions and lectures, making it a gathering place for reformers. Education for women. Institutions such as the Boston Female Academy and later, the founding of schools like the Boston Normal School, provided women with access to education and professional training, helping to break down barriers to economic independence and political participation. Immigration and social reform. The 19th century also brought a massive influx of immigrants to Boston, particularly from Ireland and later from Italy and other parts of Europe. These new communities reshaped the city's demographics and social fabric. Irish immigration and the Catholic Church. The Irish potato famine of the 1840s forced thousands of Irish to seek refuge in Boston, creating one of the largest immigrant communities in the city. Irish immigrants faced discrimination and hardship, but quickly became a vital part of Boston's workforce and political life. The Catholic Church, bolstered by Irish immigrants, grew rapidly in Boston, establishing schools, hospitals, and charitable organizations that served immigrant populations and helped them assimilate while preserving cultural identity. Social reform efforts. Boston reformers responded to the challenges of rapid urbanization and immigration with movements aimed at improving living conditions, public health, and labor rights. Leaders worked to create settlement houses, improve sanitation, and advocate for fair wages and safe working environments. These social reforms were often intertwined with abolitionism and women's rights, creating a broad coalition dedicated to building a more just and equitable society. Boston's legacy of reform. The 19th century reform movements transformed Boston into a city that not only grew economically, but also pushed the nation forward on key moral and social issues. The legacy of abolitionism, education reform, women's rights, and immigrant advocacy remains a vital part of Boston's identity today. Boston's progressive spirit helped lay the foundation for many of the rights and freedoms Americans enjoy now. Its role as a center for abolition and reform is a testament to the city's enduring commitment to justice, equality, and human dignity.